Hello, everybody. Today is December 3rd, 2017. I'm Candace Redarty. Welcome to the Send Out Cards Gratitude Gang team training call. And it is my absolute pleasure to introduce to you Jay McHugh. He is a billion-dollar real estate agent, and I'm not kidding you on that one. And he's going to share with us 7 things that realtors can do with Send Out Cards. And I'm super excited to learn from him. And I don't want to waste time introducing him or talking about other things because I want to learn. And I'm sure you all do too. So Jay, what are the 7 top things that realtors need to do with Send Out Cards?
Well, thanks very much, Candace, for having me on. And I greatly appreciate just getting to know you and all the attendees that are here. In real estate, it's been pretty easy for me because, frankly, I just believe in what Send Out Cards is all about. And since I've used it, I've had massive success with it. And oftentimes people are sending out cards and hoping for the best, and it doesn't turn into something. They quit, and they quit real quickly. And then they blame you, they blame Cody, they blame Jordan, they blame somebody else but themselves. And they need to take responsibility of that. So the 7 top things that I sent you today, I'm going to recap on myself, making sure that I stay on time. And you guys can tell me if I'm going too fast or too slow. But, you know, one of the things that has been very, very strong for me and my company is that in our real estate industry, for all the real estate agents, you know, you're told, some of them are even told, that you do your job, you don't need to send a gift, and blah, blah, blah. And I guess they're not realizing that there's something out there called Google and Zillow, and people have choices today not to use you 6 months or 6 years from today. So what are you doing to move the needle in your favor going forward? Going forward meaning getting a referral, getting a testimonial. And what happens is that people think with their arrogance that I've done my job, I helped them buy, I helped them sell their home. That's my skill. They should be thanking me. Okay, if you want to take that approach, fine. There wasn't something called Zillow and Google 20 years ago. But today, I think it's so important that you start the initial thank you at the initial meeting. So the initial meeting would be whether you get the business or not, whether the buyer contract is signed or not, whether the listing contract is signed or not. You say, thank you very much for the opportunity. I know you have choices, and I appreciate giving me the opportunity to be your realtor going forward. Well, if they get that and they're on the fence of whether or not they're going to use you, you've moved the needle in a favorable response. And of course, once they say, hey, we had a number of realtors, but for some reason we wanted to work with you, Jay, great. Well, you continue with that. And you continue with that when the home goes under agreement, you send out another card and gift. Congratulations. And use different words and verbiage. I heard someone say that earlier, and I'll explain that a little bit later. And the person says, wow, you know, we've bought and sold homes before, but we've never gotten this kind of level of service and appreciation. This is amazing. And then, of course, after it goes under agreement, you have something called the home inspection. And that can be very, you know, difficult, pressure-wise. Some sellers will do the things, and some buyers will back out of the things, and it's very, very emotional at times, because it is. And just, you know, you pay for a home inspector to tell you the roof is old. We already knew the roof was old, and they want the seller to put on a new roof. Well, the seller says, you know, too bad. I already told you the roof was old. Now we're in some acrimonious situation. However, the people listening to me saying, hey, Jay, you know, I'm glad we have you on your side. What do we do? I said, well, bird in hand's better than two somewhere in the future. I think we work with this buyer, or for the buyer, I think we work with this seller and see what we can get. Okay, we get through that. Another card and gift goes out. Hey, you've gotten through this other process. Congratulations. So in the meantime, this buyer or seller has received 3 or 4 gifts from me. And in the past, they have received nothing from their former agent. And they're starting to say, this guy's different. He's easy to get along with. He's good at his job, but something different about him. He's always sending us something that we're not expecting. You know, we're expecting paperwork and legal work and some other thing we need to do, but we get this unexpected gift in the mail, and Jay and his team are just really sharp. So, of course, we go forward, and you get this thing that's out of your control now. It's called the mortgage commitment from a bank, a loan officer, and that's pressure-filled. And again, the buyer is concerned about making sure he or she doesn't lose his deposit. The seller is concerned, making sure that the buyer still gets the mortgage because they've wasted all this time. And you're putting people at ease by saying, congratulations. Another huge hurdle has been met. Please enjoy this small treat. You've been a treat to work with up to this point, and I'm sure beyond. Wow. So you've moved the needle in such a way that they're starting to refer you business. They're starting to become a friend of yours. They're not killing you with things that are out of your control. They're not looking for a commission acadectomy, which is asking you to pay for the roof or to reduce your commission because somebody read something on Zillow or Google that you should ask, blah, blah, blah. And you're just sitting back saying, hey, it's easy to send gifts while the Bruins are winning or the Patriots are losing. And my clients are receiving these gifts 6, 7, 8 days later. And I'm sitting back and getting great testimonials. And of course, now comes the closing. Well, most of these agents are going to closings because they feel guilty making $20,000 for not doing anything, or making $20,000 and they really didn't build a relationship. I choose not to go unless I want to go, because there's really nothing there for me to do other than in Massachusetts, the attorneys take care of all the paperwork. So I can choose to go, which on Friday I had 2 closings at the same time. And although I couldn't make one of them, Bob and Wendy were very, very happy with me because I had done so many of these things that we just talked about. And the other closing needed me there because it was a tough tenant situation. And she was very, very happy that not only did I meet her there and we got there early and I took her to lunch before the closing and we laughed and so forth. She just kept saying, what am I going to get now, Jay? My son loves those gifts that you keep sending us. So I'm sitting back now with 2 great closings, grossing a good chunk of money. And I'm saying, this is easy, or this is easier than 20 years ago. And if realtors could get out of their own way and get off their high horse and start to realize that the more that you appreciate, the more that will come back in a favorable way, which we're all looking for, which is referrals. 83, 85% of all business is done by referrals, right? That's what is claimed by these, stats from National Association of Realtors. Well, how do you get that? You got to work at it. And that's what I do every single day. But by working at that, it becomes much easier that if a client wants to yell at me, they will yell at me. And then they'll realize, hey, Jim, I'm just blowing some steam up. I know it's not out of your control, but I can't believe that the smoke inspection failed. Hey, no problem. I'm here to fix it. How do we solve this problem? Because I know that they're just yelling at somebody. But because I've been sending them cards and gifts and we've built that relationship, I can handle it and we can move on from it. And I'm going to win their business going forward from it. And that's a huge mistake that most real estate agents have been missing, is that, and I've gone to many conferences and I've sat at a bar, I've sat in a pool, and I hear some of these agents say, oh, I don't give the closing gift. That's not what I do. They should be thankful that I sold their house, a short sale, a foreclosure, a divorce. And I look at them and I say, thank God you're my competition, because I'll eat you alive if you keep with that attitude. And when the realtors who are on this call, or the loan officer who might be on this call, when you start to think about it, and I get a little curt with people and I get a little tough with people, and I'm easy to get along with, but I'm also, if someone's asking to be coached by me, I don't fool around. I just tell them, I say, you're not sending that out. Your company's sending that out. You are not sending that out. You need to start sending it out from your heart. You need to start sending it out with your words. And a lot of people aren't doing that. They're just taking whatever the franchise might be, whatever the Bank of America might be. And because they're sending out that generic stuff, we get it, you get it all the time. And we can see that it's just corporate filled, it's corporate sent out. And it's not from that person, that loan officer, that realtor. So if one can shift that mindset and start thinking about to appreciate more and more often during this wonderful process of making $5,000, $15,000, or $15,000 on a particular sale, then you realize what I came up with many years ago, and I think you've heard it and appreciated it. People count, and numbers don't. When you focus on people, you'll have an infinite amount of business. When you focus on numbers, you create what is called cement shoes. You don't do anything, and you'll fall into what I call proverbial bankruptcy. And so, if we can change that little mindset in our head and start to think about people count, those 2 clients that I sold a house, they all have 200 friends. And that's 400 people that could be introduced to me over the next 3 to 6 months. That is far better than me buying leads off of one of these powerhouses, and then trying to turn a suspect into a customer and a customer into a client and a client into a screaming, raving fan. I'm working with clients and screaming, raving fans all day long, and I enjoy that much better. And hence, that's why me and my team and my company are having success, because we understand there's a juggernaut out there called Google, called Zillow. And what they're doing is they're providing those leads and average, say, entries to people who are willing to pay for them. Well, to combat that is stop having those clients even think about going to the internet to find a buyer, a seller, a handyman, a real estate agent. You should be the person that they go to. Hey, Jay, it's not real estate related, but I need someone to do a septic inspection. Do you know anybody? Sure, I do. Of course. I provide that information. They're happy. I send them out a card. Hey, no problem. Thanks very much. You see the Pats win this weekend? Have a great holiday season, Jay. Keeps that connection going. And that's what's been going really well for me. But Candace, you're the boss here. You tell me if I'm going too fast, too slow, or if I'm spending too much time on a particular subject.
You're doing great. I think we're all learning everything. I mean, we're learning. So I have to tell you, though, that I'm buying a house right now. I'm in the process of buying a house. And I think I've sent my real estate agent 3 cards with gifts. And he hasn't sent me any.
Yeah. Well,
hopefully I'm teaching him.
Well, this is going to segue into our second major component of my success that I think is extremely important for all distributors who are on this call. When you can give an added value to someone like me, if I was never introduced to SendOutCards, and I'll give you my quick story. Someone sent me an awesome SendOut card. It was spanned Lake Winnipesaukee. Said, Jay, sometimes you need to stop and smell the roses. Let me know if you'd like to learn how to send a card like this. I was pretty intimidated. I said, I don't have time to learn this, but I wasn't that good with computers at that time in 2005. But I was pretty intimidated. Well, her problem was she didn't follow up with me. She'd probably be a senior executive if she did, but she didn't. So too bad. But what I've learned and what I'm going to share with you guys now is another higher level of an added value that you can use to help introduce younger real estate agents or excellent real estate agents or aggressive real estate agents, is to say, hey guys, we're in all this together. I mean, there's a buyer, there's a seller, there's up here in Massachusetts, there's a closing attorney, there's a home inspector, there's potentially, a termite guy, termite lady, handyman, blah, blah, blah. When you're meeting with people and you say, hey folks, I love to do business with you, but I only do business with pros, not amateurs. Are you a pro or are you an amateur? And some of my students love how I speak, because it's just, I can't believe you would say that, Jay. And I say, why? Why waste any time with people who are amateurs? If you want to be a professional, if you want my circle of business or my introductions or my referrals, it's pretty easy. And I use this little quote and they get a kick out of it. I say, I meet with you at Fishbones, my favorite seafood restaurant, between 12 and 2 on Thursdays and Fridays. If they start to push back, guess what? They're amateurs. If they say, that's great, Jay, when would you like to meet? I look at my schedule and we meet, and guess what? I introduce them to SendOutCards. It's a great way of looking at it. But more importantly, it's the right way to do it, because what I'll tell you is that everybody on those transactions that I just mentioned are in my SendOutCard organization. And every one of them was sending cards and gifts to Bob and Wendy and to Laverne. And what does that do? It makes Bob and Wendy and Laverne much more comfortable during the trepidation of buying and selling here in Massachusetts, here in New England, or anywhere in the country. It's very, very challenging because things get out of your control. For instance, with Laverne, Superwoman, it became a great friend of hers. It was the tenant. The tenant wouldn't get out. She had rate lock extensions. She had frustrations. She had, I don't know if I'm going to continue with this, Jay. And it's unfortunate. The good news is that the person who referred me to Laverne is in my SendOutCard organization, who also did the great loan with incredible ratios with an excellent credit client, meaning Laverne. And Laverne could tell that Jerry and I were working very, very hard to see this through and looking out for her best interest, et cetera, et cetera. And because of that, she has a beautiful home in Dorchester, Massachusetts that it's probably gone up $30,000 since we put it under agreement in July. How did I get that referral? Jerry. Jerry's in SendOutCards. Jerry's a loan officer. So what I've done over the last few years, I say to people, hey guys, I mean, I don't know, there's approximately 1 million realtors, or I think there's 650,000 loan officers licensed in the United States. There's a lot of people doing a lot of business averagely. If you want to do business professionally, you say please and thank you more and more often, and you say thank you in the form using a SendOutCard system. And if people don't like that, too bad. Too bad. That's how I work, because I know it's working not just for me, but hundreds of other agents in our own company and thousands of other real estate agents and loan officers around the country. And it should be more. But the reality is that it's not more, because there's not enough people on this call that I'm looking at: Susie, Candace, Christy, Jay, Dan, Dave Greenwood, Kristen, all these great folks, Jim, of course, Gail, that are starting to get the message out. So how does that happen? Again, you just need to teach people, hey folks, if you're a real estate agent, here's how it works. And if people start, worrying about how much does it cost and so forth, you must be an amateur. And if they then get interested, hey guys, here's how it works. Again, who's ever you're referring business to, it's not extortion. It's just the right way to do business. And the right way to do business is that if I send you a card and I send you a client and we're doing business, here's the higher level of Jay McHugh. I teach these loan officers, I say, guys, it's not good enough just to say, thank you very much, Laverne. I look forward to working with you. It's, thank you very much, Laverne. You're working with a top real estate agent that I referred you to in Jay McHugh. He will have great success with you and is a joy to work with. Because what happens is now Laverne is getting that connection from Jerry about me. Conversely, hey, Laverne, I'm so glad that Jerry put us together. He's a top loan officer. I've known him for 20 years. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me, but I know Jerry is going to work extremely well in getting you to the finish line. See, these are words that you put into the card. Someone opens up the card and they say, wow, I feel more comfortable than a generic Bank of America card or a generic, we won't name some of the franchises for legal reasons, card. And now those clients are starting to say, wow. And now those real estate agents are starting to say, Jay, this is working. This is good. Yeah. It's not just working, it's the right thing to do, because it's not about the cost of sending the card, as many of you have heard me say. It's truly the cost of not sending a card that's expensive. And if you put all these affirmations on the wall and you wake up every single morning and you start to say them over and over, you start to wonder, why haven't I been doing this for a period of time? Why? Well, don't worry about that. Just start today. Susie, I love your questions. You and I talk all the time. I love when you have, earlier you mentioned, some of these people just don't get it. And, it's good to, not baby them. It's good not to enable them. You've got to learn that script and that dialogue. It's just say, are you a professional or are you an amateur? Do you want to make $30,000 in real estate next year, or do you want to make $300,000 in real estate next year? I can't promise that to you, but I have a better way that you can attain that or get closer to that if you start listening to Candace, to Susie, to Joy, et cetera, et cetera. And if they still push back, great. Oh, by the way, who do you know that might enjoy earning $300,000 a year? Well, what do you mean? I'm looking for a referral from you. Well, I'm not going to refer my competition, Jay. Well, you just told me it didn't work. Well, I still would, no worries. I'll seek that person out so I can prove it to you. And when I seek that person out and I prove it to you, you'll just be about 1.5 years behind. Wow. Jay, how do I sign up? It's not about signing up. Let's show you how to use the system correctly. And those people love it. I mean, I can walk down the street, not fear of someone saying, oh, that guy signed me up for SendOut because it didn't work. I'm not about that. I want people to have massive success. But I tell them, guys, you can't have massive success if you're spending $10 a month or $39 a month or even $100 a month in SendOutCards. You need to step up your game. You need to be a professional. You need to drop $500 this month and start using those cards, not storing them, not saving the points. You just need to get them out there into the street, into the universe. And then you pick up the phone and you just make phone calls and they say, hey, Jay, stop it. I just got this huge box of brownies. This is awesome conversation, by the way. And I love some of these questions that I'm getting from different platforms. Bob and Wendy, it's a great story. I sold Bob and Wendy in Dedham a house 5 years ago. Now, I was the listing broker. They were represented by a buyer agent. The common thing is that they would go back to their buyer agent and have the buyer agent become the listing agent. But it's not common with Jay McHugh. They picked up the phone and they said, hey, Jay, you sold us the house as a listing agent, and we're thinking about moving. Would you come over and give us an assessment? And they've been getting cards, even though I was not their agent, because I believe that sometimes these agents don't follow up like Jay does. And hence, I got the listing, sold them their house in Dedham, and then helped them buy a house in Foxborough for over $1 million in gross sales. But the point was, yesterday when he called me, he says, oh my God, Jay, we saw the big box and we were disappointed because you didn't listen to us. And we said no more chocolates and no more desserts. And it was a bunch of gifts. And one of them was that cheeseburger. And I said, Bob, I heard that you like different types of beer and Wendy likes great wines. And I figured during the holiday season, every time you're having cheese and crackers, you could think of me. And he was just laughing. He's like, I've never met anybody like you, Jay. And guess what? Bob's a psychologist. And it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. Sending him brownies, gifts, chocolates, big box of brownies before we had the home under agreement, cheese tray, board cutters.
I have a question, Jay.
Sure.
So I'm at the Central Oregon Association of Realtors every Tuesday. Everyone knows me pretty much. And I still get from loan officers and title companies, and it's probably different statutes and laws in different states. But the loan officers and the title companies tell me all the time that there are certain things they're not allowed to do. So yes, well, they send thank you notes, and I get tons of their solicitation flyers. They are not allowed to send gifts or other things, and a thank you note cannot be perceived as, some sort of coercion, so to speak. I don't know another word for it. So I hear a lot of pushback from those people. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have the same laws over there?
The universe has those same laws. And
the title companies especially.
And I get through them. And I said, so what they're mandating is that they're telling you when you can say, please, thank you, hello, happy birthday, and so forth. You need to get into a different industry, or you need to get out of that company, because what they're doing is they're putting the fear of God into you, and therefore you're accepting that. And I have had that. And if you look at the number of distributors and customers that I have, 50% of them said the same thing. And then they realized that, excuse my language, Jay, you're right, this is bullshit. They can send those cards from their home address and it won't conflict. They're just using that, Susie, as an excuse because what we call deflecting. They're deflecting that they want to let you off soft and say, no, we can't do that. Really? Okay. I say to them, okay, well, who do you know in the financial business that you could refer me to? Because I'm going to prove it to you that they can't mandate you saying please and thank you. And if they want to get down to the specifics and say, oh, we can't send more than $60 worth of a perceived value gift, again, they're deflecting it. It's a bunch of BS. And we're fearless, as you probably can tell, and we have these same laws. There's a, Prospect Mortgage got fined a big chunk of money. And what they do, they change their name to Homebridge. There's companies out there, and I don't want to get too detailed because we're being recorded here, so please disregard anything I may have said that would constitute another legal lawsuit. But the fact is that there seems to be a mention that when people are trying to be good or be kind, the big brother, the government, is trying to look into it and say, who can we take down? Because that was over $50. And I look at some of these people that I meet at some of these real estate meetings, and I say, seriously, are you in that much of a fear of walking out of your house saying that you may have done something to crush your business? If you work that way, then those are probably the people you don't want to work with, Susie. But you do want to find the people who are not fearful of that, because you're going to find the next Jay McHugh or Stacy Alcorn or Dave Greenwood or Jerry Maguire or Wayne Olson. You know, those people are not in fear. The Jim McCords, the Gail Zentecs, and they have other people in their organization that are doing exactly what we're doing, which is to say, Lori, Lori just switched companies, but she didn't say, Jay, I couldn't do that here, so I went over here. No, she just switched companies because she chose to switch real estate loan officer or banking mortgage companies. She's still, I said, Lori, the best thing you can do is get me in front of RSM. I'll crush it with them. I'll destroy all their challenges and so forth. Does it work for you, Lori? She said, absolutely. I wouldn't have gotten a loan if I hadn't signed up and SendOutCards with you. Right. I didn't, tell you to spend $250 and all this other stuff, all this other garbage that I think that's what they're talking about, Susie. But, the reality is that I call it deflection. And if you're finding that more in that area, then I would go out of that industry for the time being and find the next Jay McHugh, that when you find that Jay McHugh, he or she could say to the loan officer industry, are you kidding me? Because they'll still be in your downline of your organization, et cetera. So you're circumventing those challenges because maybe they just are saying to you softly, we just don't want to do it. And they're using that as an excuse. And again, we've talked about this before. The more you become skillful in handling those type of objections, and I'm going to mention my good friend Grant Cardone, then you realize that a lot of this is a bunch of BS when people push back. Because even my real estate organization, if I told you what we can and cannot say as a buyer's agent, you'd be like, what? Exactly. So the people who are more interested in those rules, they're focusing on the grass clippings in the driveway instead of the manicured lawn in the front of the house on a Saturday where all your friends are coming over for the wedding of your daughter. So I don't focus on the people who focus on the grass clippings in the driveway. I focus on the people who see the big vision, and you need to focus on those big vision people, and you will find them. And when you do find them, you're just going to create better dialogue that can handle those types of objections. Because there's nowhere in any kind of constitutional law, banking industry, or even finance industry or real estate that says you can't be nice to people. And again, they put that cover on it by saying X amount of dollars, and then people run around saying, oh, I can't do that, Jay, because of RESPA laws. Really? You don't even know what RESPA means? No, but we went to a meeting and they said we can't do that. Okay, you're the person that is amongst the average. You'll always be average because you don't get out of your own way. And hey, it's shameful. But the good news for us professionals is that we eat them for lunch every single day because we're not fearful of doing that. And that's what can help you when you speak to these real estate agents, is that we all have come to seminars and webinars and everything else. How do you differentiate yourself from the average real estate agent? And of course, there's some agents out there that have 15 team members and they sell I sold $150 million. And really, you didn't sell 100, your team did. You have a business with inside your team. For instance, I didn't sell $1 billion worth of real estate. My company, Lair Real Estate, sold $1 billion worth of real estate. But beyond that, what I'm getting at is that those are the ones that you want to be looking at. The professionals that get it, that are fearless. And those are the ones that are going to help you grow your business, give you some great introductions, and essentially, help you what we're here to do, to find out what are the things that is Jay doing to help grow his business using SendOutCards. So I'm going to, move to number 3.
Okay, great.
Feel
I was going
free
to interject and say, let's talk about FSBOs.
Yeah, so I love FSBOs. So, Jim McCord could be the master at SendOutCards in his way of going after for sale by owners. I could be the master by teaching you some expired listing tips. My good friend Mike Mahoney has a huge campaign. The reality is that you want to get the appointment. When you're talking to the real estate agents, it's pretty interesting. I own a lot of investment property. So if I put my own investment property on and expires in MLS, guess what? I get a bunch of people who are sending me the most ridiculous generic for sale by owner expired listing letters on ridiculous franchise heading with a ridiculous body of simple language that does not move the needle. Doesn't make me shine. But what it does do, I collect that and call them up and I say, you should be using SendOutCards for this reason. Whether it works, it doesn't work. Sometimes they take offense to it. But I say, well, you didn't do your research. You could have seen that it's my name, blah, blah, blah. But what it does do on a big picture is that your goal is to get the appointment. So if you were to send out a card and you don't knock your competition, would you send out a card and say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I see that your home is expired through the MLS. I'd love to show you and explain to you how my creative marketing and my systems of selling home could open up your eyes. I'm sure your previous agent did his or her best, but all I'm looking for is 15 minutes of your time. Pretty good card. Send that card out. I get the card. I don't call you, but I let it sit there. Now, your job is not to send one card, one and done. You send another card. You send another card. Point is to get the appointment. Well, now SendOutCards after $15 got you a for sale by owner or expired listing. They have their hand up. They're what we call someone who's going to be buying or selling or both within the next 3 months. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. And you've got an appointment with somebody who's going to do business. Does SendOutCards help? Absolutely. Because it elevated you above your competition from your generic top producer form letter, your generic Zillow form letter, your generic Big Five Reology, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, whomever else form letter. And now you've separated yourself. And of course, you could use a little J. McHugh language in there and say, hey, the key to my success are working with for sale by owners and expired listings that understand how my approach works 95% better than the average agent. In close, please find a small token of my appreciation. And guess what? From Susie Glennon, I just found this little key to success that she sent to my wife, Stacy Alcorn, and I made sure to bring it out tonight. And that moves the needle. And someone is like, wow, this is amazing. Right. It is amazing because we all have the potential to do it. We're just not doing it. So for the people on this call, go scrub the bunch of for sale by owners and expired listings and send out a card with the little key to success. And if you want the second card, hey, my 2 brownie points is that you'll enjoy working with me. Enjoy these brownies. I hope you can set an appointment with me to discuss selling your home in 2018.
I love that. My 2 brownie points. That can work for any card. I love it.
Exactly. And that's what we need to do, again, to get the appointment. SendOutCards is not here to say Jay McHugh, Jim McCord, Gail Zentek, Brian Perez are wonderful. We're using SendOutCards, but we're doing what we do in real estate to also become wonderful. But I love SendOutCards because it allows me to do what I need to do, which is to get the appointment.
Hey, Jay, can I add 2 cents real quick? Michelle will probably be watching this replay. She's one of my rockstar realtors. And she sent 2 cards with brownies to FSBOs, or maybe expireds. I'll have to ask her again. And she got the appointment. So now we're just waiting for them to meet with her. So it does work.
I love that testimonial. And what becomes very, very good is when you have a testimonial like you just gave and people can listen to it, it has to be habitual. And we'll move into the next one. So we don't sit on that because I'm going to recap it and I don't want to keep everybody past their bedtimes. But we talked about for sale by owners expired. Number 4, use correct words in the card sending. We just touched on it. Oftentimes people are sending such bland, boring cards. I look at them and say, sorry, I failed you. What do you mean you failed? And I said, I didn't teach you how to send cards. I didn't teach you how to brush your teeth. I didn't teach you how to shower. And they start laughing. What do you mean, Jay? I said, this is a ridiculously poor card. You're going to blame Cody or Candace or Jordan or Diane? Come on, grow up. Be a big boy. Bring up your big boy pants. I don't like the way you're talking to me, Jay. I said, well, this is a terrible card. This is a great card. This is a great card. That's a guy that's been watching me who joined my team. He joined SendOutCards. He's having an incredible year. He took the time to listen to what I had to say, and he sends great cards, and he's getting great results. So we have to step up our game a little bit. Not a little bit. We have to step up our game a lot. Grant Cardone, 10X, We have to recognize that if we're just doing average things, we're going to get average results. And oftentimes, people who are stuck with SendOutCards and they're not getting great results is that they're not listening to what I appreciate you having me on because I love sharing, as you all know. But sending the cards is one step out of maybe a 7-step process to get the for sale by owner or expired listing. The other 6, that's going to be on you. That's going to be on your franchise. That's going to be on your broker owner. And 90% has got to be on me. I've got to step it up and learn how to overcome objections of commission or pricing or contract time, etc. Otherwise, you're going to quit SendOutCards and blame. No, you should get out of the industry of real estate. Real estate isn't easy. It's difficult, but it can become easier if you use these things that we're talking about. So we've talked about the card creation. We're going to build a database. We're on number 6 right now, Candace, and we'll have some questions. Happy to answer questions, but I want to get through this because I was pumped about just some of the things I was writing down. Is that oftentimes, and you ladies are stars at it, is that the database of building birthdays and anniversaries is unbelievable. When you start to collect birthdays, and I'll give you a little tip. I'm a nut, as you can probably tell. We're at a closing attorney in Massachusetts. They have all this wonderful stuff, blah, 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 blah. And at the end, they need to Patriot Act to make sure the person who is at the closing is the person at the closing, because there's people doing bad things in the world. So they ask you for the driver's license, and I volunteer and I say, hey, let me get you a copy of the driver's license. I don't give one copy. I give one copy and one copy to me. I take their birthday down on their driver's license without asking them, and I put it in my database. Whew. And I get their birthday. So Laverne's birthday is coming up January 5th. I didn't know that. Now, I do have another way of getting birthdays, but I'm just saying for the crowd of people here, when you're at the closing attorney's office or the title, you have a right for their driver's license, I would assume, or their personal identification. So you're collecting birthdays. One example. I can go on for that. I won't bother with that. Anniversaries, home anniversaries. You look on somebody's house and you look up and you say, oh, it's Stacy and Jay, married December 31st, 2013. Dan, would you want to take a picture of that and put that into your database? No, why? Well, this is your client. Wouldn't you want to know their anniversaries? Yeah, that's a good point. Again, taking that information that seems to be public, putting into the database, being reminded by SendOutCards to send out, not just Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's. Well, Laverne's going to get another card right now on her birthday. Whew. I have a better chance of getting all of Laverne's, Blue Cross Blue Shield, where she works now, business, because she's going to say, wow, this guy's amazing. He just doesn't sell houses. He's just fun to be with. And he sent me another big box of birthday brownies. Unbelievable. And then, of course, you drip into their pets, their likes. And everybody knows I like golf. I could care less about the Patriots, soccer fan, Revolution. I'm a contrarian. I kind of pee them off, but that's the fun thing in me. If someone sends me something like that, some people, will do that on Facebook. That's good. That means I know that they're becoming interested in me. It's the same thing that we as real estate agents need to do, is instead of making it about us, get interested in them. And how do you do that? Number 7, social media. It's, we all on social media, we all get it and so forth, but sometimes we don't get it in terms of like, what can you do with it? So Facebook, tip for these real estate brokers or loan officers watching. Every morning, today I had 18 Facebook birthdays to send out. Happy birthday, have a great week, happy holidays, blah, blah, blah. I can be a little bit more descriptive. I'm not going to bore you, but, I go copy and paste it to 18 people. I'm done in 6 minutes or less. Big deal, Jay. Right, big deal. However, the ones that I do come across that are important to me, I put them into my SendOutCard database. Big deal, Jay. Let me finish. I then send them out a belated card with a couple brownies and say, sorry for missing your birthday, but I'm actually extending your birth month. Have a wonderful year ahead. Well, next year, SendOutCards reminds me so I don't miss it. Now they get another birthday card and birthday brownies. So that person got 2 birthday cards and 4 brownies within 367 days. Have I moved the needle, realtors? Of course. Now, someone on this call is going to say, Jay can't be doing that to 5,000 friends. No, I don't. But I do it to the 200 people that come to my wake, my wedding, or my funeral. Those are the people that are going to refer business to me, my wife, and to my family and to my team. So that's the detective in me. That's the detective all of us has in us if we just use the social media to the value add that we can use. And of course, these ladies are fantastic. And just looking at Stacy would kill me, Susie, if I showed on TV the picture of you scrubbing, major success. Love watching your stuff, Stacy. Congratulations on your latest accomplishment. All that's over there in the mantle. But where did Susie get it? She didn't get it from me. I didn't text it to her and say, please send Stacy a card. She ripped it off, scrubbed it from Facebook, sent it. And why am I talking about it? Because it's on the mantle. And my good friend Susie sent me this awesome success key, which I send out hundreds of these a month. It's easy, folks. It's easy. So we have a little bonus time right here. Any questions right now so I can just keep this pace going well?
Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question if you have one. Really? No one has a question?
That's okay.
Well, I am so filled up. And yet, so yesterday I attended Promptings Academy in Kalamazoo, and Gail Zintek did her real estate presentation, and she talked about how she sent a card to someone, and as a result of sending that card to a complete stranger, she closed 11 deals and made $80,000 from one card. Mm-hmm. And just that is so powerful. And that wasn't her only. I mean, she gave examples of how cards lead to referrals. Like she gave 3 different examples, but that's so powerful. Just the small act of sending a card creates the relationship, and the relationship could lead to business. And doesn't always lead to business, but it could. So thank you, Jay, for sharing your little tidbits, because that was really good. I stopped taking notes because I was trying to listen to you talk. So it's a good thing there's a replay. But you gave us such really good nuggets, and we really appreciate that. Anybody have any questions?
I have a quick comment. Shalina will probably see this as well, and she's another rock star realtor here locally. Friends with Michelle. Michelle signed her up. And I got to tell you, to hear this girl talk would just floor you guys. She's just so into it. And her most solid words are always, just sell the simplicity of saving time and money and having it at your fingertips. Those 3 things, that's all you need. And here's someone telling me, her sponsor's sponsor, just sell the simplicity of saving time and money and having it at your fingertips.
She's spot on. She's exactly right.
What I want to finish with, Candace, is just some nuggets that I wrote down before we jumped on. For, we all hear the pushback of how much does it cost and how many cards do I get for $39, Jay? And I don't know anymore, because if I'm sending out brownies and I'm sending out karma gifts and I'm teaching people, how to do the Boston Bruins brownie, such and such, I look at it and I say, guys, if you send out 10 cards a day, it will keep the tax man away. And I truly believe if you send or spend $10,000 in SendOut cards this year for everybody, and someone's going to say, whoa, I can't guarantee it, because I know it'll come back and haunt me to the few amateurs. But if you spend $10K on SendOut cards, you'll gross an additional $80,000. Simple math. Now, if someone wants to divide that, you spend $1,000, you'll get an $8,000 simple math additional piece of business on just $1,000. But the going forward benefit is, infinitive. We can't necessarily calculate that. And I think that's a good example where Gail has been sending great cards for nearly 10 years. Her one card just didn't turn into 11. That person may have heard of her and blah, 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 and all that other good stuff that she's doing. And we now need to understand that to become a level 4 card sender with the advent of, you guys are great at this, is, a cell phone, an iPhone, at a home inspection, at a closing, at an appointment with someone's late, at a restaurant waiting for your client or coffee. Why aren't you using SOC mobile app. And I just find it puzzling. So that's why even someone said, you don't send out 10 cards a day, Jay. I said, I absolutely do, because one, it's easy. My business has grown incredibly, but I don't want to be a hypocrite, because I don't want to be a hypocrite, and it works. So why would I stop doing that? 86,400 seconds in a day. Do you have 1,000 to 4,000 seconds in a day to send out 2 to 10 cards? Of course you do. Now, some people are not going to be able to send out cards as quickly as we do. But if they can manifest the understanding that there are 86,400 seconds, and when I sometimes call on my team and say, what card did you send Candace today? I didn't send one. Well, what brownies did you send Susie? Did you send them the blonde, or did you send them the chocolate? I'm going to do that tonight, Jay. Okay. So you're not a level 4 card sender then. And we need to work on that. But those are things that you can help people with. And it's really cool, because, I have one of our top agents, makes a good chunk of money. He's not very good with computers. He called me up a little upset. He says, Jay, where are those goddamn blonde brownies? And I said, what do you mean? He said, they're not on the gift store anymore. And I said, well, Mike, that's because someone like you is sending out a lot of them. When they go out of stock, they can't be sent, but they'll be back in stock, no problems. I'll call Cody if I have to. Why? He says, I just love them, because I send them to my contractors, my builders. And I say, hey, guys, enjoy these treats. I bet you never had 2 blondes before. And I send off the blonde brownies. And I said, Mike, come to one of my, seminars. This is awesome. I've been doing it for 10 years. I know we didn't have blonde brownies for 10 years. But that's the point, that even someone who's not very good with technology recognizes that he can use the gifts and the cards to move the needle. And he does a lot of business, folks. And he's not sending out 10 cards a day. So if someone can send out 10 cards a day, send out the success key, send out the calendars, and send out the bookmarks, you'll move the needle, and you'll have a very, very good 2018 and beyond.
Shall we give a round of applause?
Yay, that was good. Thank you so much, Jay. I cannot express how much we appreciate everything that you share with us. Overwhelming. I'm going to have to listen again and take notes this time. so it's really good. I'm meeting with a realtor on Wednesday, so I'm going to be ready.
Good.
I love it. Thank you. So thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. Jay, thank you. And have a great evening, everybody. Everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye now.
Good night, Jay. Thank you.